Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I've never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. This is going to be Toadstool Sports. This is the last of the conference tournament futures videos for the small conferences. I'm going to do one more for the big conferences, plus the American, which is not finalized yet. So I think all the other ones are done. So you can go, I would say you could go back and watch the other 2 videos that I did on this, but I think all those tournaments have begun now. So hopefully I didn't miss any. I don't think I did. So I'm going to get the rest of them done here while I have the A-Sun Championship on right now between Queens and Queens and Central Arkansas. Oh, God, that means Queens is going to lose. Oh, no. Mr. Pinsey, what's up? Yeah, I said High Point was going to win that game. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah, they're definitely a deeper team. Winthrop, yeah, mostly goes through their big man there, and I don't think he's totally healthy. So, yeah, I was arguing with somebody in the chat about that this morning. I said High Point would win. They did. All right. So, yeah, we did have a few clinchers already this morning. High Point won the Big South. They're in Northern Iowa. I was also correct about them this morning. They won the Missouri Valley. Not the worst team that could get in from the Missouri Valley, of course. In fact, the second best. So I guess I'll take it, even though if you're not first, you're last. And then, actually, I think it was just those 2. I was watching the Colgate-Lehigh game, and I was wrong about that one. Colgate eliminated. I don't know what's going on in the Navy game right now. I want to get this done so I can watch the end of these 2 p.m. games, though, and watch the craziness ensue here. Let's get into the rest of these tournaments, man. So the last tournaments that I did, I think, were the ones that I went up through the ones that start on March 8th, I believe, which I did the Southland. I think that was the last one that I did as far as like when it starts. So I was going to do the SWAC next, which starts tomorrow, and the bracket wasn't ready yet, and I clicked on the bracket here, and it goes to the women's bracket. They're like really trying to force the women on you, man. that sounds wrong, but I'm like, wait, Alabama A&M, they're not the number 1 seed. What? Mississippi Valley State's not the worst team in the country? What are you talking about? This isn't right. Oh, yeah, that's because that's the women's. No, we're looking at the men's. We're going to look at the SWAC here. Bethune-Cookman basically ran away with the SWAC. This is a conference that I'm not going to be getting involved in. There's no way. I almost don't even get involved with the regular season here. I think I was right about Bethune-Cookman losing their last game, though, because they just didn't have anything to play for. They ran away with the conference. They're the 1 seed. They are actually the best team in the conference. Like I said, I think Southern is the second best team. And then Alabama A&M third. Or no, excuse me. I guess according to KenPom's rankings, Grambling is third. Then Alabama A&M. And then all the rest of the teams in the conference are outside the top 300, including the worst team in the entire country, Mississippi Valley State, who did win 2 games in conference play, though. looking at the bracket here, so we have it's like a double bye situation. So the 1 and the 2 seeds get the double byes, and they're gonna play whoever gets through this mess of the. So Bethune Cookman's gonna get the winner of the 10 versus 11 versus 8 setup here, and the 7 versus 9 versus 12 winds up playing Florida A&M, the 2 seed, while the 3 and then it's like kind of a normal structure after that. So it's almost like those teams play into the 7 and 8 seeds, and then you have the 4 and the 5, the 3 and the 6, and that's about it. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this one. I mean, you have some real bad games to start out here. Alabama and Alcorn State in the 10-11 matchup, winner of which will play Prairie View A&M. Alabama State actually won this conference last year. I mean, that is just a whole mess where really I think anybody could come out of that mess there. Alcorn State is actually pretty bad, though, so I would expect it's probably not them because they're in the bottom, like 15 in the country. So I'm guessing one of those other 2 teams probably gets out of that mess, plays Bethune-Cookman. Mississippi Valley State, this is hilarious that Grambling, I just told you they're the 3rd best team in the conference, and they're the 9 seed. So I think Grambling is probably going to get through multiple rounds here, man. I think they're going to beat Mississippi Valley State and Jackson State probably, even though Jackson State, the one thing they have in their pocket is that they played a really difficult out-of-conference schedule, which I was talking about, but they're 342nd in the country according to KenPom. That's not going to do it, man. So I don't see that happening. Grambling, by the way, is the best defense in this entire conference, so that's something they can hang their hat on. Bethune-Cookman is 2nd, just a much more balanced team. And Florida A&M, pretty good on the defensive side as well. You know me, I like defense. So, and then Alabama State, actually not horrible defensively either. So Alabama State actually probably would be my pick to get through to play Bethune-Cookman. But, I mean, that's just a complete guess, really. And then, yeah, Grambling, I don't know how they wound up as the 9 seed because I think they'll get through. I think they should win these 2 games here. And then against Florida A&M, Florida A&M is actually pretty bad, too, outside the top 300. I could see Grambling going on a big run here, actually. And then Southern is going to have to take on whoever gets out of this mess here. Bethune-Cookman gets a really nice setup, though. Texas Southern, Alabama A&M. I mean, those teams are... Texas Southern has a name recognition in this conference, but they're not that great. I mean, my guess would be Bethune-Cookman does win this conference, but a lot of times this conference tournament becomes chaotic, so I just think that they have kind of a sizable edge over most of these teams. I could see it being Bethune-Cookman and Southern getting to the final. If you really want a complete long shot, I think it would be Grambling. Again, I don't know how they're the 9 seed. They're like clearly the most underseeded team in this conference. You actually have odds for this. Southern, believe it or not, has the best odds to win this conference at plus 220. You can get Bethune-Cookman at plus 230. Where's Grambling? Grambling is plus 1,300, man. After Texas Southern at plus 900, Alabama A&M plus 950, Florida A&M plus 950, Pine Bluff, Arkansas Pine Bluff plus 1,200, and then Grambling. I mean, again, if you want a really long shot, Grambling would be my choice here. But I do think one of these top 2 teams is going to win it. Bethune-Cookman, I think, is the best team, so getting them at lesser odds there, and I don't think their path is particularly difficult. So, I think Bethune-Cookman probably would be the shot to fire on, and then Grambling, if you want to take a real long shot on that, and then they get to this game against Florida A&M, maybe start hedging a little bit or something like that. Or if they might even get all the way to this game and play, I would guess Southern would probably get through there. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of an interesting setup. It's just wild that Grambling is not that bad of a team, and they're just so far down in the conference standings. It's crazy. But they have the best defense in the entire conference, and that can carry you pretty far. So, that's that conference there. What other tournaments do we have starting on March 9th? We don't have any. All right, let's go to March 10th. We have Conference USA will be up next, which is Liberty and Sam Houston in that conference there. Where, you know me, I think Liberty is pretty overrated, man. Oh, what do you know? I think we actually have the... oh, no, we don't. We don't have a... the bracket is not filled out on the website there. Thanks, Conference USA. let me bring back up Wikipedia then. I should just keep Wikipedia up, man. It's USA 2026 tournament. Let's go. Here it is. All right. Wikipedia, I mean, the people do a good job. Usually, they did not keep this up to date. What the hell, dude? I was going to say, usually they keep this up to date. Is Conference USA playing today? Do I have to skip it right now? Hold on. So, yeah, I apologize. I might have to do Conference USA after this, too. I don't think so. I think the bracket is set. Yeah, I don't think Conference USA is playing today. What the hell, dude? Yeah, that's what I thought. Only the American and then the big conferences are playing today, aside from the conference tournaments that are already in action. Yeah, what the fuck? Looking right now. Actually, hold on. Oh, no, yeah, that's fine. Fine. Yeah, this is just insane. Men's bracket was announced. All right, show it to me. Here it is. Yeah, and it's all colored. Nice. This is the one that ESPN should link to, man. All right, yeah, this looks correct. Liberty is the 1 seed. Sam Houston the 2, and then so on. I believe this is correct. Yeah. So there is an opening round in this tournament, and then this is a weird tournament structure, actually, where it looks like it's almost like the Horizon tournament, but it's crazier. So the 8 and 9 play each other, which is FIU and Missouri State. The winner of that is going to play Liberty. Then the 7 and 10, Jacksonville State and New Mexico State, who I think is a ridiculously underseeded team. They just keep losing, though. The winner of that plays Sam Houston, though, so, probably Sam Houston wins that anyway. And then the winner of the Liberty game is going to play the winner of the 4-5 matchup, La Tech and Middle Tennessee. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention with the SWAC tournament, I forgot the whole thing is being played outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and it's pretty much all on ESPN Plus up until the final on ESPN2, just because I shout out where you can find these things. Matthew, what's up, man? I'm rooting for Queens, man. Hopefully you're not going to lose money on it if they lose, though, because I told you from a betting perspective, I thought Central Arkansas would win. Dave, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. All right. This tournament, by the way, again, same structure. Pretty much all of it's on ESPN. Well, ESPN Plus is carrying the early games, and then it switches over to the CBS family. CBS Sports gets the semifinals and the finals here. The 3-6 matchup will be Western Kentucky and Kennesaw, and the winner of that game will play the winner of Sam Houston versus the winner of that opening one. So, yes, sir. My picks for today are already up on Twitter. I did that this morning, man, but none of the games have started yet. So I've got Nebraska minus the points, San Francisco minus the points in college basketball. NBA, I've got, what were my plays in the NBA? Pacers plus the points and Bucks plus the points. And then I had Chicago Blackhawks puck line in hockey. Those are my plays today. Although I'm limited right now, I'm getting pissed because the books are limiting me. Like, I might have to just, I'm going to still do my show, but I got to figure out, what I want to do for my own purposes, you know what I mean, moving forward. Like, I'm still going to do the show because I'm autistic, and I'll give you out all the information, but I don't know. I want to be able to make more money, man. I got to find something to do. Yeah, High Point. I told you High Point would win that game. Winthrop... Winthrop, not a great free throw shooting team, I don't think. But they were particularly bad in that game, I believe. That game had a couple of crazy swings in it. But let's get this done, man, because I do want to watch the second half of the Queens game, too. And watch Navy versus BU, since I am a Boston guy. And my parents and sister all went to BU. So I'm the bastard of the family who didn't go to BU. But let me see. I didn't go to BC either, though, so they can't hate me that much. All right, Conference USA, yes. So, I mean, Liberty, I really think is an overrated team, man. I mean, we could look at KenPom about this. They are actually still the highest. Actually, I think Sam Houston might be higher rated now. Yeah, Sam Houston's 110, according to KenPom. Liberty, 117. Liberty's the second luckiest team in the country. As I've been talking about, they've been extreme in the luck index here. Whoever jumped them to become number one, I think I faded them with one of my plays yesterday. No, I did not go to Stonehill. I'm not a I don't know what do they do? It's what are the majors that Stonehill offers? I don't know. I did some summer programs at Stonehill though. All right, and yeah, Sam Houston. I mean, they're the more well-rounded team. They're the better defense than Liberty. Liberty is outside the top 200 in defense, man. I don't think Liberty's going to win this conference, dude. I really don't. Even though they didn't have any conference losses until really late in the season, and some of the losses at the end of the season were because they just didn't care about the game anymore. I don't trust Liberty. Sam Houston is, again, more balanced. They're slightly worse offensively, but they're the better defense. I could definitely see Sam Houston winning this conference. I could see this conference being somewhat chaotic, too. And again, Liberty was barely getting by a lot of these teams. I'm not even convinced that they're going to get by FIU versus Missouri State, to be honest. This whole tournament is at Huntsville, Alabama, by the way, just so you know. It's all at a neutral location. Yeah, I mean, FIU versus Missouri State. I mean, even right away, like, those teams are not that bad compared to the other teams in the conference. FIU's in the top 200. Missouri State's a little bit outside the top 200. You know, I could see Liberty even having trouble in this first game. Again, I think New Mexico State is extremely underseeded. It's just that they never can seem to win the free throw battle. They're at 182 in the country. They're super unlucky. They're facing Jacksonville State right out of the gate, though. And Jacksonville State wasn't even that bad either. So, like, I don't even know what to do with this conference, dude. Looking at how the teams order, according to KenPom here, Sam Houston is first, then Liberty. Then there's a little bit of a drop-off to Western Kentucky, who is actually the 3 seed. They are the third best team. Then Middle Tennessee, who's really, I think, flying quite under the radar. I've been talking about how they're a decent team. Then Kennesaw is actually next. Then New Mexico State. So I guess New Mexico State's like 6th. Then FIU. So, yeah, it's a pretty interesting setup, I guess. But I do think Sam Houston will get through their first game there. Liberty, I mean, probably will. But I do think these teams, Liberty, I think, is going to run into some problems. Western Kentucky has to face Kennesaw right off the bat, too. And that's the third and fourth best teams in the country, in the conference, pretty much, or third and fifth. I mean, facing off right away there in the 3-6. Middle Tennessee is up here at the 5. Middle Tennessee should beat La Tech pretty easily, and then they could beat Liberty, dude. I mean, I think if you want like a long shot here, Middle Tennessee might be it, because I think Middle Tennessee versus Liberty, whoever wins that game, assuming it even gets to that. I think Sam Houston, their side of the bracket is much more difficult. New Mexico State's not bad as a 10 seed. Believe it or not, they're not that bad. And like I said, Western Kentucky and Kennesaw are not even that bad either. So Sam Houston might not get through this thing. Just they have a more difficult side of the bracket. Let's see what are the odds that we have here in this conference. Conference USA. Liberty is plus 200, which is not great. Sam Houston plus 210. Western Kentucky plus 650. Middle Tennessee right there plus 700. Then Kennesaw plus 1,200. New Mexico State's all the way down to plus 3,300 because they do have to win an extra game. And La Tech plus 1,700. I don't like La Tech, man. They're the next best team, I guess. Actually, yeah, after Jacksonville State, they're next after that. So they're like 7th or 8th in the conference. Yeah, I'm not buying that. They're an overseeded 4 seed. If I was going to do anything with this conference, I would actually probably take the shot with Middle Tennessee at 7-1. I think they could get through this thing. And again, Middle Tennessee, I mean, if you look at their defensive rating, they're not actually La Tech. The one good thing about them is they have a good defense. Best defense in the conference, in fact, but they also have the second worst offense in the conference. So what do you do with that? I don't know. I mean, I guess their defense could be somewhat dangerous, but Middle Tennessee is much more balanced. Western Kentucky has a decent defense, and they're more balanced as well. Sam Houston, like I said, they're more balanced as well. But those teams have to play each other. So, yeah, I don't know. I do think, yeah, Middle Tennessee would probably be the value play here rather than looking at one of those other teams that, are the top 2 teams in the conference. All right. People just talk about Liberty too much, man, because they make the tournament so often. They're always like this team that everybody kind of like hypes up. And like last year, they got absolutely drilled in the first round by who do they play? Oregon, maybe. They got absolutely crushed, dude. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying Liberty. All right. The ACC, I'm gonna wait until tomorrow. I'm gonna do one of these for the big conferences tomorrow. ACC, Big Ten. It looks like those are all starting on Tuesday. Let me see here, and then Big 12 and Conference. Conference USA starts on the same day too. All right. What else do we have? We have a few more conferences I haven't talked about. We have the MEAC, which is not an interesting conference. It's as bad as the SWAC, basically, or maybe even worse. Look at how ugly this graphic is. Holy crap. This is the MEAC conference tournament here where it looks like we have only 7 teams in it. This is a wild graphic here where they don't do left to right here. They did it 2 sides. Howard is like by far the best team in this conference. So that's something to keep in mind. The whole conference is bad, but Howard is the only one that's even close to cracking the top 200. Howard's still not even very good, to be honest. It's just the rest of this conference is absolutely atrocious. No other team in this conference is even inside the top 320, basically. Norfolk State is next at 321. So I would be kind of surprised if Howard didn't run through this thing. They only have to win like 2 games to win this thing. Norfolk State starts out playing South Carolina State. I think that's a mismatch as well. South Carolina State is ass. They're like in the bottom 10 in the entire country. So, yeah. Howard, by the way, almost in the top 100 on defense. Like, they are so much better on defense than the rest of this conference. It's insane. But I would expect Norfolk State to beat South Carolina State here. Howard should beat them. Morgan State is an absolute fraud as a 2 seed. I've been telling you that. They're really, really bad. They're like a bottom 15 team in the country. Bottom 12, basically, in defense. But they're facing an equally bad Delaware State team, if not worse. Delaware State's actually the worst offense in the entire country. But their defense is actually pretty good. So there is the possibility Morgan State bounced right away. I don't trust them at all in the 2-7 matchup there. And then the 3-6 is NC Central and Maryland Eastern Shore. NC Central, I don't know, man. I keep thinking NC Central's the better of those teams, but it looks like they're really not. I mean, they're actually really bad, worse than I thought. Maryland Eastern Shore actually at least has a decent defense compared to the rest of these teams. They're second in the conference in defense. So Maryland Eastern Shore also did, I think they gave, which team was, they gave some team like a real run for their money in the out of conference. Bethune-Cookman, by the way, almost beat Auburn early in the season. They took them to overtime, but Maryland Eastern Shore played well. I think it was against Georgia Tech, which isn't that impressive, but, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really going to be any value to be found, playing any of these other teams here. Maryland Eastern Shore, I mean, their defense could carry them into the championship potentially as the 6th seed, just because their defense is better than the rest of these. Howard is -310 to win the conference. That's how much better they are than the rest of this conference. And this is, again, Howard is not even good. That's just how bad the rest of this conference is. Norfolk State's +500. Morgan State +1,700. I would absolutely, completely avoid them. NC Central +2,000. Maryland Eastern Shore +2,200. If you want, a real long shot with Maryland Eastern Shore there. But yeah, I just see no value in playing this conference at all. I would be really, really shocked if Howard doesn't win it. So those are my thoughts on that one. All right. And I closed Wikipedia again. Hold on. I'm going to bring it up just in case I need to use it for more of these brackets here. All right. I'm going to leave the Mountain West for the end of the show because it's a more fun one to talk about. The Big East I'm going to talk about tomorrow. Actually, is the Mountain West done? I think it is set. So we will talk about that one. I feel like I have to talk about the MAC. Where the fuck is the MAC? Well, we'll talk about the MAC close to last, too. Why not? Because the MAC, is the one that everybody's going to be talking about. All right, we'll talk about the Big West, which is at the Lee's Family Forum in Henderson, Nevada. I kept saying they play in Las Vegas. Close enough. They play in Henderson. Delaware State Hornets versus Florida A&M Rattlers. Is that who they are? Florida A&M is the way better logo, dude. I don't like. Is it even a comparison? You want me to bring that up again? Let me see here. Where are we looking here? MEAC. Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Yeah, I would say Florida A&M has got to be it, right? If you can see it here, I don't think Delaware State looks that good. The Hornet there, it's just kind of boring. A red Hornet. Florida A&M. Well, we have to look at the SWAC for Florida A&M, but yeah, Florida A&M is definitely better though, dude. Although I already closed. Well, I couldn't even bring up. Well, I can bring up this. Wait, do they even have the logos here? Actually, well, you can see it here. This is them, Florida A&M. I mean, it looks like it needs an update, but I think it's a way better logo. The rattlesnake. It's more intimidating for sure, and plus I like green, so I'm definitely giving it to Florida A&M. All right. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. We're talking about the Big West Conference Tournament. I didn't even know who got the 1 seed here, man. I wasn't paying attention. I think Hawaii lost last night to Long Beach State, so they fell to the 2 seed. UC Irvine got the 1 seed. Fullerton is the 3. I'm going to guess they're not going to win the conference. Northridge got the 4. I don't know if I liked Northridge out of cover last night. I think they at least won. I don't know if they covered, but that was one that I almost put on my card. And then we have UC San Diego, I think, is actually still a threat to win this conference. And Santa Barbara actually probably is too. And they're all the way down to the 7 seed. So this conference, the top 8 teams get in and the rest of the teams get dropped. So Long Beach, I think, even though they went all the way to Hawaii, Long Beach, who let me down in their final home game, they went out to Hawaii and they played really well in their final game and beat Hawaii, which is crazy. I think Hawaii probably started looking ahead to the tournament here. None of these teams are in the top 100 in KenPom. Hawaii is close. UC Irvine is close. Actually, UC Irvine is the best KenPom ranked team right now, but it's close between them and then UC San Diego actually has moved their way up to the 2nd in KenPom's rankings here. Then Hawaii is 3rd. Then Santa Barbara, like I said, they're still a threat, I think, in this conference. They're 4th. UC Davis is 5th, and those two teams are playing each other in the first round, I think. Then Fullerton is after that, 6th, I guess is what that is, and then Northridge is 7th best in the conference, so keep all that in mind. UC Santa Barbara is the best offense. They lack on defense. UC Irvine is the best defense, but their offense kind of sucks. Second best defense is Hawaii, but they are also kind of offensively inept. And then UC San Diego could win this thing, man. They're the best balanced team. Those 3 teams are top 100 defense, and UC San Diego's not as bad on the offense. They won this conference last year, and they really struggled early in conference play this year, but they've really moved up. So this is going to be a tournament where a lot of things can happen, man. The winner of UC Davis and UC Santa Barbara, I think the winner of that game is going to beat Fullerton, I want to say, because I think Fullerton's just not as good, and the team that wins that first game will have a little bit of an advantage because they'll have played a game already, and we're looking at these games are being played in Henderson, Nevada, like I said. I might have to look at, because the graphic that I have here doesn't tell me what the structure is, like where these games are on TV. Looks like it's ESPN Plus the first couple rounds, then ESPNU, ESPN2 for the finals. So this is kind of a cleaner representation of the bracket here, but it's a really simple bracket, really. It's just that this style works so this is like that wide style, like the Sun Belt, but this works way better when you only deal with 8 teams, you know what I mean? So this is kind of more of the ideal bracket. It's just that you have kind of a chaotic conference where a lot of teams no team really separated themselves here. I think UC San Diego, easy win over Cal Poly. It should be for them, even though I think they might have lost to them once this season. I think they get through Northridge as well. I don't think Northridge is that good, and UC San Diego will have a game under their belt, which will then set up a really crazy meeting between UC San Diego and UC Irvine. Then on the other side here, you know what? Hawaii has an easier path here, dude. They really do. Because Davis and Santa Barbara, one of them is going to get bounced right away. Fullerton's not that good. And if they happen to win that game, I think Hawaii almost gets a free pass to the final. I mean, I don't want to quite say that, but I think the value actually is going to be on Hawaii here because UC San Diego and UC Irvine both being on the same side here. And I think they're probably going to wind up matching up in this semifinal here, and either one of them could win that game. Although if you want to really go with the long shot here, I think UC San Diego probably does have some value here as well because they're one of the best teams in the conference, but they have to win 3 games. Let me see here. Big West. Do we even have I don't even know if we have odds on this. Oh, we do. UC Irvine is plus 140. Hawaii plus 185. UC San Diego plus 750, but they do have the third best odds to win it. Then Northridge plus 1,100. Santa Barbara plus 1,400. Fullerton, this is how fraudulent they are wherever they're seated. Plus 1,600 as a 3 seed. Yeah, good luck with that. I think Hawaii is probably the legitimate shot here. Again, I think they have the softer side of the bracket, so they might be worth a shot. But again, I should point out, again, I've been talking about this on my show recently. We're talking about the futures markets here, but I think the better way to play some of these, or the better way to play a future in these tournaments is to do a rollover instead. And what that means is you play that team on the money line, and then whatever you win on that bet, like make it a smaller bet for each one of these, but you take whatever you win from that bet, you roll it over and bet it again on that same team the next game if they win, you know what I mean? And keep doing that because the payout is actually going to be more if you do it that way. And you could stop at any point, you know what I mean? But, of course, if you do have a future, you can let it ride, and then you can potentially hedge it if you're right. So, I mean, I'm still not really opposed to it, but I think the rollover approach is actually better, if you get what I'm saying, if that makes sense. UMass and Hawaii canceled their home-and-home football games. I have no thoughts on that. UMass is switching conferences, right? UMass is moving down. Well, wait a minute. What? UMass is moving out of FBS football. So I don't care what they do. They're FCS. I don't pay attention to FCS at all. And then Hawaii. So wait, UMass and Hawaii were going to play each other? Is that what you're saying? That makes no sense. I mean, those wouldn't be games that I would pay any attention to anyway. Hawaii is an FBS team, and them playing an FCS team, I don't care. Dude, UMass was absolutely pitiful this year. They were the worst team in FBS. They were the worst team by far. Anyway, Hawaii, if you want like the legitimate shot to win this thing, I think they're the way to look here. UC Irvine could certainly still do it, but I think as a longer shot, I think UC San Diego at plus 750 offers a pretty decent amount of value there as well. Those are my thoughts on the Big West Conference tournament there. Okay. So that was one of the ones starting on March 11th. Then we have the WAC, which is really whack. They're playing at the Orleans, by the way, so they're playing in the same casino, maybe not the same arena. It might be the same arena as the WCC, because I think the WAC might just start after that one's over. This is WAC here. This graphic is like covering this whole thing, but this is only a 7-team tournament. It's only a 7-team conference now. So Utah Valley did wrap up the 1 seed. They had a crazy game last night against Utah Tech, which I think Utah Tech must be invisible. They're the 3 seed, but I don't even see where the fuck are they here. These graphics suck, dude. But yeah, Utah Tech must be the 3 seed. They played a really crazy game against Utah Tech last night, and against Utah Valley. Went into double overtime, and Utah Valley, I think, won by 1 point. I was watching the end of that. It was wild. Utah Valley is definitely the best team in this conference. I can bring it up here so we can actually see the bracket. Yeah, so Utah Tech is the 3 seed. That graphic is just ass, dude. They'll play the winner of that opening game. So there's an opening round game between the 6 and the 7. Abilene Christian and Tarleton. Utah Tech, I think Utah Tech is not really that good, though. And then Southern Utah, I think, might be the worst team in this conference, and they got the 5 seed somehow. All these games are on ESPN Plus until the final is on ESPN 2. like I said, the whole thing is being played in Vegas, at the Orleans. Utah Valley should win this thing, man. I mean, I know Utah Tech has looked competitive this year, but they're also down on Cal Baptist side here. Utah Valley, I don't see them losing to whoever wins this 4-5 game between Arlington and Southern Utah. Cal Baptist is an okay team, but yeah. The whole thing is, so it looks like Utah Valley won their injunction, though, so congratulations to them, because you remember, they're leaving the WAC for the Big West, and I think the WAC should really disband. I mean, they can't really continue with 6 teams, right? That's ridiculous. And one of those teams gets an auto bid. I mean, come on. So, but I like Utah Valley. They're actually legit. They're actually a top 100 KenPom team, and they're suing they're suing the WAC because the WAC wasn't going to allow them into this tournament because they didn't pay the exit fee. Utah Valley sued the WAC, and now they have a temporary restraining order or whatever. And in this case, the restraining order means that they have to be closer to the WAC because they have to play in their tournament. But they want to, and I think it's good for the WAC, dude. The WAC wants their best team to get in, right? And that is clearly Utah Valley here. Utah Valley, by the way, famed for being the site of the horrendous Charlie Kirk assassination. That's what they're known for now, so that's great. Utah Tech was... Wait, what? Dixie State? No way. There's no way they were called Dixie State in Utah. What? I assume that's a joke. Anyway, and this is... unfortunately, this is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve, but whatever. Dude, Oh, and sponsored by University Credit Union. Dude, I like to make fun of the sponsors like I do with the Bulls, but I've been really slacking on that. I made fun of the Barbasol one for whichever conference they were, sponsoring. But other than that, I missed out on that. I got to get this done so I can watch the rest of this game. It looks like it's a fun game right now. Queens up 1 point right now, man. Wow, you're all over the place, Matthew. You went to Weber State. All right. Fair enough. That is bizarre. It's bizarre. I would expect Dixie State to be in Alabama or something like that. Anyway, yeah, so Utah Tech is down here underneath the graphic where my cursor is here. So that's how this bracket is set up. Looking at KenPom here, good old KenPom. He's got Utah Valley in the top 90. They're a good team, man. They're pretty balanced. They're a top 100 defensive team. The best defensive team in the conference is actually UT Arlington, then Cal Baptist, then Utah Valley. But Utah Valley is the more balanced team. As far as how good these teams are, it is Utah Valley, then Cal Baptist, almost in the top 100. Then there's a decent drop-off to UT Arlington, third. Then Utah Tech is actually the 4th best team. So they're actually still not horrible as far as this conference is concerned. But it kind of sucks that Utah Valley might actually... they will have to play UT Arlington here probably. I think UT Arlington should beat Southern Utah. Southern Utah's god-awful. Like I said, they're actually the worst KenPom team in this entire conference. Utah Valley is going to have to get through UT Arlington. They should, but that's not really an ideal matchup for them, man. Although Cal Baptist is going to have to probably face Utah Tech, I would guess. That's not going to be that easy either. I think we should get Utah Valley, Cal Baptist in the final. As long as if we do get that, then regardless of which team wins, it's going to be a first-time tournament entry because neither of those programs have ever made the men's tournament. So that's something interesting. Let's see what we got with the old odds here for the WAC. Utah Valley is favored over the whole field at minus 150. Cal Baptist plus 190, and then UT Arlington plus 850. No surprises here. The odds are all in order of how good they are, really. Utah Tech plus 1,400. And then the rest of the teams are all long shots. Southern Utah, an extreme long shot. UT Arlington, now that I think about it, if you really want a long shot, maybe they do have some value at plus 850. I think Utah Valley should get through this thing, though. They are still the better team. They will be favored as long as they can get through Arlington after Arlington has won an easy game against Southern Utah. it should be theirs. I mean, Cal Baptist may be a threat. Utah Tech, I doubt it, even though they looked good again against Utah Valley last night, and they beat them once this year. So maybe Utah Valley doesn't want to face Utah Tech. But these teams all played each other 3 times during the regular season, too, pretty much, because it's a 7-team conference here. But, yeah, this is not one that I would really want to do anything with, man, as far as this conference is concerned. I mean, I guess you could make the argument that Cal Baptist has a better path because they avoid UT Arlington, if you want to make that argument. But Utah Tech is okay, but Utah Tech's not a good defensive team. They're the second-best offensive team in the conference, so... and, I like defense when it comes to tournament time. So that's that. What other tournaments we got here? We have the Atlantic 10. Unless I want to save that for last. Then SEC, American is not set yet. We already talked about the MEAC. I'm going to save the Mountain West for the end of this video. All right, yeah, let's go to the Atlantic 10. Although I haven't talked about the MAC yet. The MAC has got to be somewhere. The Atlantic 10, it's all in the CBS family, I think, for the most part. So CBS Sports Network has at least the last 2 rounds. USA, actually, I forgot. USA Network carries a lot of this conference. They have all the opening round games. That's like always the case. This is a huge tournament because all 13 teams get in, which is really stupid. But St. Bonaventure being the last seeded team in the tournament, Loyola Chicago is. Of course, Loyola Chicago is. They're the 14. There are 14 teams in. St. Bonaventure being the 13 is kind of ridiculous, so I think they're better than that. I expect them to at least beat LaSalle here. Then they would run into George Mason, who I think is overrated, and they're probably going to be overhyped after they just blew out St. Louis last night. St. Louis has hit a lull at the end of the season, man, but I think they're going to turn it on tournament time. They're still a very, very good team, and they're still the team to beat in this conference. The problem for St. Louis, though, is George Washington and Dayton are both on their side of the bracket, and George Washington, I don't know how George Washington is a 9 seed, dude. George Washington is the 3rd best team in this conference, I'm pretty sure. Them being a 9 seed is insane. Let me see. KenPom has St. Louis 40th now. They've really, really dropped off. They were in the top 25 on KenPom, like, pretty much all season, and now they're actually lower than VCU, believe it or not, in KenPom's rankings. And George Washington, that's offense, my mistake. St. Louis is only 5 ranking spots higher than VCU, though. And both those teams are actually very well-rounded. They're both very, very balanced offense, defense, although St. Louis beat VCU twice. But, those are both the top 2 teams. There's no doubt about that. Then Dayton is the best defense in the conference. They're quite good as well. Dayton, actually, I was wrong. Dayton's actually the 3rd best team in the conference. George Washington is the 3rd best offense. And they are the 4th best team in the conference right now, according to KenPom, but really close in ranking to Dayton. Then George Mason's really not that far off from that as the 5th team. Then, believe it or not, Davidson. Davidson has a top 100 defense, top 100 defense. So do Fordham and Rhode Island, believe it or not. Those are good defenses too, but they just can't score at all. So a lot of things to look at here. Bonaventure is not really close to the worst team in this conference, like I said. LaSalle and Loyola are easily the worst 2 teams here. So, I expect Bonaventure to get through that. This is a very difficult side of the bracket for St. Louis, though. I mean, Fordham, good defensively. George Washington probably will beat them. George Washington almost won at St. Louis this year, so they are a very, very dangerous team here. Dayton is very good, like I just said. I think Dayton probably wins against the winner of George Mason, and I assume St. Bonaventure. Dayton probably wins that game. And then, I could definitely see this being St. Louis versus Dayton here, though, and then that's going to be crazy as well. St. Louis really, really is going to be up against it in this tournament structure, man. So they're going to be looking probably to get an at-large bid here. They're going to have to, dude, if they lose their first game in this tournament, they're actually really, really going to be in danger of missing the tournament. As insane as that sounds, because they've been ranked up until the last game of the regular season. They should not have lost to George Mason, man. They kind of needed that game. Although I told you I kind of liked George Mason to cover that, even though I think George Mason's been an overrated team all year. They're not too bad, really. Fairly balanced, to be honest. Duquesne is an interesting team as well. They're not really bad in anything. They're pretty balanced as well. So, yeah, Duquesne, not bad. And we got, on the other side here, VCU has, they get the winner of Duquesne and Rhode Island, who is a good defense. I kind of think Duquesne will get that one, and then they might give VCU a little bit of an issue here. The rest of this side of the bracket is a little bit weaker, though. St. Joe's being a 3 is insane. Being the 3 seed, they're not that good. As you can see here, they're like the 6th best team in the conference. They're pretty overrated. St. Joe's, they are good on defense, though. You got to give them that. They're almost a top 50 defense. Their offense is extremely weak, though. I think Richmond is certainly better than Loyola, probably gets through that. Davidson, I kind of think Davidson gets through this portion of this bracket here. But, I'm kind of spitballing here. But Davidson is a good defense, so they can kind of ride that through. Although Rhode Island, we're talking about Richmond. Yeah, Richmond is just an okay team. Rhode Island's up here in this other portion of the bracket here where VCU is. This is a crazy bracket. There's just way too many teams in it. But, yeah, I think St. Joe's is absolutely not going to win this thing. VCU, the setup for them is a bit better for sure. So I think looking towards VCU to get this thing done. And they might even avoid, like if St. Louis could drop out somewhere on this half of the bracket, and then VCU might get somebody else in the conference final here. So I don't mind VCU. They might have the best value in this tournament. Let me see here. Yeah, VCU is actually favored to win. So go figure. They're not favored against the field, but they have the best odds, plus 145. St. Louis plus 170, Dayton plus 600 because they do have to go through St. Louis. George Washington plus 1,600. So like I said, St. Louis is on a very dangerous part of the bracket, man. VCU's is somewhat clear. Davidson is at plus 2,000. And St. Joe's, even though they have to play one fewer game than Davidson does, they have worse odds to win than Davidson does at plus 2,200. And then George Mason at plus 3,500. I would not go anywhere near them. If you want, a future here, I would say VCU. I think they might get it done. They have the softer side of the bracket. The odds do bear that out. Maybe the odds aren't quite good enough to do it, but, I don't mind that. I don't mind George Washington at plus 1,600 as like kind of a major long shot there, or maybe even Davidson at plus 2,000, but each of them is going to have to get through one of these better teams, so that makes it a bit difficult. Yeah, and I don't love that George Washington just isn't that good on defense, so yeah, I'm rooting for St. Louis to make the tournament. Dude, it looked like they were a lock to make the tournament. Like, we don't want Robbie Avila to not make the tournament. Avila to make the tournament. He's got to do it, man. St. Louis, I think they got to at least get one win here, and then I think they probably will be safe to get in. But I don't know, man. We'll see. So that is a very interesting conference tournament there. All right. Let's get through the rest of this here, man. Let's get it done. We already talked about the MEAC. Mountain West, I haven't talked about yet. We're going to get that done. I think the only one we have left, the MAC is the only one left. Let's talk about the MAC, even though it starts after the Mountain West does. So the MAC, this is all set. It's all ESPN Plus first round, and then CBS Sports for the middle rounds here, and then for the semifinals, and then the final on ESPN2. This whole thing being sponsored by Credit Union One. There you go. And this is in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, the MAC, they have a more straightforward tournament structure. The top 8 teams get in, and they just play a tournament. They play it out. So Miami, Ohio, of course, got the 1 seed. I do think Akron is better, though. But, of course, Akron took that 1 loss at Miami, Ohio, even though Akron was the favorite. So Akron is the 2 seed. And then we have Kent State is the 3 seed. I think they are probably the 3rd best team in the conference, and they did get the 3 seed. Toledo is the 4. Bowling Green, good on defense, not good on offense, got the 5. Buffalo got in as the 7. Ohio got in as the 6. I don't think Ohio's that good. I think Ohio's just going to go down right away to Kent State. Kent State's better than they are in Ohio, coming off that game against Miami where they went all out. I don't like Ohio to even win a game in this tournament. And then my boys at UMass got in the number 8 spot there. UMass was pretty decent at the beginning of the season, and they actually almost beat Miami when they played them. I think they might have played them twice, actually. UMass definitely, I was rooting for them to get in here because they are definitely not the worst team in this conference, like not even close. So I liked that UMass got in. Looking at the power ratings here on KenPom, Akron, 61st in the country, so they're number 1 in the conference. Miami, Ohio is down to 90. They're second. Then Toledo at 136 is next. Then Bowling Green, believe it or not, at 148. Then Kent State at 153, so I got that wrong. They've shuffled around a bit. And then every other team is 200 or worse. UMass is right at 200, though. And Bowling Green has the best defense in the conference, but they're outside the top 100. So this is not a very defensive conference. Akron is very good on offense. In fact, better than Miami, Ohio, believe it or not. Miami, Ohio's second. And Akron is actually better on defense than Miami, Ohio as well. And they're the second and third best defenses in the conference. And then Toledo is all offense, and they're the third best offense in the conference there. Buffalo also all offense. Decent on offense, but not really any. They're not good on defense at all. So yeah, looking at this, I mean, it almost seems like it's almost assured that you're going to get Miami, Ohio against Akron in the final. Miami, Ohio does have to play a weird 11 a.m. game though on Thursday against UMass. So we'll see what happens with that game. Looking at the odds here. Akron has the best odds to win. In fact, they're favored against the entire field at -110. And, dude, Akron, when they opened, they were like +110 or something. So you could have gotten Akron at plus money. So I would have preferred that. But I think if you want Akron here, and I think Akron is going to win this tournament. They play Buffalo, and then they kind of get off easy with Ohio and Kent State on their side. Kent State, they're really not a good defense. So I think Akron has the easier side of this bracket, too. Miami has Bowling Green, who is a good defense, at least on their side. Toledo gave them kind of a run for their money, although Toledo, I don't know how good they really are, but, they're actually good on offense, at least, like I said. And then UMass, not really horrible, really. So, yeah, I think the bracket setup is better for Akron as well. So I think Akron is probably where the value is. I mean, the hype is all Miami, Ohio. They're at +230. You got to think the public is going to be taking Miami, Ohio here. But, again, you could have gotten Akron at like +110 when these odds open. So I think if you like Akron, I would probably do a rollover thing again and play them money line in every game. But you will be playing them as a favorite all the way up until the final. In fact, even in the final, you'll be playing them as a favorite. So even if it's against Miami, Ohio, Akron will be favored in that game. So that's what's going on in this conference. As far as, any long shots here, I mean, Kent State is at +1100. Because I like Akron, I don't really like Kent State to get through them. Toledo's at +1200. Bowling Green +1200. And then UMass doesn't have odds because, I'm in Massachusetts, so you can't bet on UMass, unfortunately. Queens is winning. I got to get out of here and watch the end of that. I got to watch the end of that game. So anyway, that's the MAC. I like whatever I said. I like Akron to win it. All right. And then Mountain West is the last one, I think, right? Yeah, because I did the WAC. I did the A10. American starts on the 11th as well, but they're just not finished with the regular season yet. All right, Mountain West, and then I'll get out of here. The Mountain West, I think, is going to be chaos, dude. This is a pretty solid conference like it usually is. A few pretty good teams in here. Utah State is the best, still at 35th in the country, according to KenPom. Then San Diego State at 47th. New Mexico, 49th. Boise, believe it or not, at 56th. Grand Canyon at 60th. Nevada, 76th. Colorado State at 84th, and Wyoming at 98th, and then UNLV just outside the top 100 at 104. This conference has a lot of teams in the KenPom top 100, man. This is wild. Utah State did get the 1 seed. No, I guarantee you Utah State is not winning this conference. There are too many competitive teams in this conference. They're not going to win it. Nope, not happening. They get, UNLV, Wyoming right off the bat. The winner of that, probably UNLV. UNLV they beat Utah State, I think, both times this year. So Utah State is almost going to immediately run into a team that's given them a ton of problems. They got Grand Canyon on their side of the bracket, too, which is, not great. Although San Diego State does have to contend with New Mexico and Boise and Colorado State on their side. So I agree this side is more packed here on the San Diego State side. Man. I kind of like Grand Canyon to get through this. Utah State's side of the bracket is softer. I'm not going to deny that, but I don't know, man. Grand Canyon beat them once this year, gave them problems both games as well. I think Grand Canyon might be worth a shot in this one. And then other than that, maybe Boise is a really long shot because they're not going to lose to San Jose State. And they, New Mexico's good, but I don't know. They are balanced. I keep picturing New Mexico as like this not very good defensive team, but that's not the case this year. They actually are the third best defense in the conference. The best defense is Grand Canyon. They're just not that good on offense. San Diego State's second best defense. Utah State is the best offense, and they are more balanced. You know me, I don't like offense, though, really, as opposed to defense. Nevada is actually quite balanced. Boise is very balanced. Fresno actually pretty good on the defensive side. Colorado State really good on offense. And UNLV pretty good on offense as well. This conference is insane, dude. Like, anything could happen, really. Let me see what the odds are on this. No team is going to be favored to win this over the field. Utah State is at plus 170. Yeah, well, good luck with that because they're an underdog against the entire field. They're not going to win it. Plus, they're not going to be the most motivated team here because they're going to make the tournament even if they don't win this conference tournament. When is the last time that the 1 seed won this conference? Tell me when. The 1 seed, never wins it. And, again, these other teams are going to be more motivated in this tournament because they're all on the bubble. San Diego State at plus 320, New Mexico plus 480, Grand Canyon plus 700, Boise plus 950 for the odds here, and then plus 1,600 Nevada, plus 2,700 Colorado State, because they do have to go through an extra game. Wyoming plus 4,500, and then UNLV is at plus 5,000. I still think Grand Canyon as kind of a long shot there, plus 700. If one of these teams, if San Diego State or New Mexico, whatever team wins, if one of those teams wins through and gets to the championship game, that team is going to be dangerous as well, quite obviously. But again, Boise, they do have to play an extra game, but it's basically a bye. They're not going to lose to San Jose State. So Boise is dangerous. They're not that much worse than New Mexico. San Diego State does set up a little bit better here. I think they will take care of business against Colorado State. They are the better defense. So San Diego State at plus 320. I don't really hate that either, getting through this half of the bracket. It would not shock me if Boise gets to the semifinals, though, honestly. So I think there is some value there. And then Grand Canyon, they will probably have to contend with Nevada. Nevada will beat Air Force. Air Force is god-awful. So Grand Canyon will have to contend with Nevada here. In Las Vegas, this game, all these games are at the Thomas and Mack, which is UNLV's home arena, by the way. So UNLV usually kind of makes some noise there. Probably they will at least get a game in this tournament. So UNLV plays at home, basically. So Utah State gets to have to play them in their home arena, so great there. 2023, but how often does it happen? San Diego State. This conference is so competitive, dude. This year, this is one of the most competitive Mountain West slates that I've ever seen, dude. This is an unbelievably competitive conference. like I showed you the KenPom rankings here. We got like 5 teams within the top like 60 or so in KenPom. And a couple of teams just outside of that. It's an insane conference. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on that. I kind of like Grand Canyon and San Diego State maybe as far as having some, and Boise as far as having some value here. Grand Canyon has to win fewer games, though. They might have to beat Utah State. But, those are my thoughts on the Mountain West. Utah State's side of the bracket isn't as insane as I thought it would be. But, I still don't think they're going to get through it. I think picking one specific team to get through it is probably not going to happen. But I'm looking for value, and I don't think the value is with them. Because, again, they're the only team in this conference that's likely to get an at-large, even if they lose. But I guess that'll motivate them in their first game, because as long as they win that first game, I think they're fine. We'll see what happens. The Mountain West seems to always have something insane happening, though. That's going to do it, man. All right, an hour long for this one. I thought I was going to go not as long as that. I'm going to get out of here and watch the rest of these games. Thanks, guys. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Learn to Toad on Twitter. You know the drill. Like, subscribe here. Give me some replies, etc. Listen on audio. Apple, Spotify. Give me reviews over there. Whatever else we got going on. Covered in Uke, my Uke channel on YouTube, patreon.com/learn to Toad. Everything is Learn to Toad. You can find it on my link tree anyway on Twitter as well. And then I keep saying Covered in Uke. I already said Covered in Uke. Loser Cast every Tuesday night. Check that show out too. That's going to do it. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. I will disagree with everybody, but, I don't know. I'm also a dick, but I appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, sticking with me. Let's have some winners today. Peace.